Good afternoon. It is Saturday, September 26th. In today's video, I'm going to update how things look on the market charts for the three indices, the SPY, Nasdaq, and the Russell. And then I'm going to also take a look at Apple and revisit Akamai, which looked pretty bad a couple of weeks ago in my last video. So starting off with the SPY, which is by far the strongest of the three indices, you can see here that it held almost to the penny TDST level down, and on Friday it managed to cancel what was the ongoing TD buy setup and start a sell setup. So up to now, it looks like support is holding. There is still unfinished business with bar 11 of the countdown sell. And to complete the countdown, price would need to stab back up to the highs of bar 8, at which point the buy exhaustion should be complete. But for now, it looks okay. It looks like it's hanging in there. On the weekly time frame, it still looks iffy in the sense that the completed TD sell setup put in a price flip, a bearish price flip immediately thereafter. That buy setup is still ongoing on bar 3, but it is still also above the TDST level down price. So we're not near support. Yes, the pressure is to the downside, but it's still a somewhat positive framework. Looking at the QQQ, things are definitely different. I will go first to the daily chart. So on Wednesday, there was a qualified break of TDST level down, this solid red line here. This denotes a change in the daily trend from bullish to bearish. However, the more important thing is now to find continued selling pressure. And on Friday, the rally managed to cancel what was the ongoing buy setup. So this is somewhat of a mixed message. The trend line has been broken, but at least for now, bears do not seem to have enough selling pressure to continue to drop prices. It truly is kind of muddled. We're going to have to see how long this sell setup lasts, see if it continues to 9, or if it cancels and then we're back down to into a buy setup selling pressure scenario. But for now, I think the easiest way to describe it is that the trend has changed, but the selling pressure is still not there. If we look at it on the weekly time frame, very similar to the SPY, well above TDST level down, which is all the way down near the March lows, and unfinished business on the upside, but bar 3 of a buy setup. So longer term, some selling pressure. Shorter term, things are very muddled. And lastly, for the Russell 2000, I'll take it in the daily and then weekly order. The Russell is by far the weakest link here. Not only we had a qualified break of the TDST level down, so the trend has changed. But even Friday's rally has not been able to cancel the TD buy setup. I'm sorry, the TD sell setup. Nope, go back. This is confusing. The TD buy setup. So we're on bar 5. And if this continues to completion, then on a daily time frame, the Russell would definitely be in a bearish posture. Say that fast 10 times. Going over to the weekly time frames. Again, unfinished business on the upside, but bears seem to be in control for the time being. This TD line has been broken on a qualified basis, and it targets that all the way down to 134.52. Not too much good to say. So to sum it up, the SPY looks okay. The QQQs are muddled on a daily time frame and leaning bearish on a weekly time frame, while the Russell 2000 is definitely pointing down. Whether you want to pair trades the indices one against the other, I think that's probably getting a little too cute at this point, because things are so confusing. But that's sort of the ranking of how things are shaping up. One of the tweets asked for an update on Apple. Apple looks remarkably similar to the Nasdaq, as you can imagine. So on the daily time frame, again, qualified break of TDST level down, so the trend has changed to bearish. Unfinished business on the upside, bar 12, and now 2 bars of a sell setup. I will note this: in order to complete the countdown sell, price would have to spike all the way back up to 134.80, which seems unlikely to me. The mark indicators caution about always waiting for the full completion of a countdown, and that's why you can set the settings to sort of alert you to a bar 12 of the countdown, because oftentimes that's where the counts exhaust anyway. So again, kind of muddled, broken trend line, but the counts are still hanging on. In other words, the price levels is bearish, but the pricing pressure is still hanging in there. On the weekly time frame, this is almost identical, if not completely identical, to the Nasdaq, and it is. Completed bar 11 and now bar 3 of a buy countdown. And lastly, I want to revisit Akamai, which, as many of you know, is one of my longest or largest longs. Things looked very sketchy a couple of weeks ago and forced me to buy a bunch of puts. But it, just like the Nasdaq, it sort of has straightened itself out a little bit. So broke the TDST level down. But we're now all the way back to bar 8 of a sell setup. So if this completes, it has meaningful implications for how strong the buying pressure may be. Now, having said that, in order to complete the count, the stock will have to close on Monday above the close of bar 5, so above 112.75. That's quite a move, so I suspect and I fear that it will cancel, in which case then things are almost just like the Nasdaq. They definitely look weaker, on the weaker side than the strong side. On the weekly time frame, Pretty clean bar 4 of a buy setup, so selling pressure is there, but this is a qualified break of the secondary exhaustion level from this completed count. So this is now out of the picture, and we'll see. I think it's muddled at best. So that's it for today. Hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon.